Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
How would you rank the NFC North in terms of most complete rosters? A few days ago, Eric Edholm from NFL.com listed his top 10 most complete teams in the NFL. Number 1 was the Eagles. Okay. Number 2 was the Ravens. Okay. Number 3 was the Lions. Now, I wonder if part of that would change because of their center retiring yesterday, because there is one line in there that says the bulk of his excellent offensive line returns. Well, you're missing your center now, so I think that would drop down a little bit, but we'll leave it where it's at right now. Kansas City at number 4, Buffalo at number 5, Minnesota at 6, number 7 is Tampa Bay, number 8 is Green Bay, number 9 is San Francisco, number 10 is Denver. Now, you can read the whole piece. There are a few issues I would have for some of the reasonings on some of these teams, San Francisco in particular and such, but we're just going to take a look at the NFC North side. So what did Eric have to say about Green Bay? Gutierrez was promoted in general manager in 2018, and the Packers have selected 80 players in his 8 drafts, an average of 10 per year for the non-math majors out there. This volume-heavy approach has allowed them to field one of the league's most solid and competitive rosters up and down, depending on what you think of Jordan Love, of course. As the 26th overall pick in 2020, Love arguably was the most controversial of those 80 choices among fans and pundits who continue to debate the long-term extension he signed last summer. He took over for Aaron Rodgers in 2023, turned in 2 streaky seasons as a starter, and now must show he could further elevate his game. The support system is there. Green Bay boasts a capable offensive line, a wealth of wide receiver talent, an emerging star and tight end, Tucker Kraft, and the running back of Josh Jacobs, who's coming off of a terrific first season in the green and gold. If first-round wide receiver Matthew Golden can step right in as a threat, this is a top 10 offense. To be fair, they were top 10 in a lot of categories last year, even top 5. Can the defense hold up its end of the bargain? The front, which features 4 former first-rounders plus a slew of other draftees, must play up to the expectations for this unit to thrive. There's still the lingering question of Jair's future, but the secondary features enough playmakers, and while a linebacker might not be terribly deep, there is talent. The evaluation of Love makes this ranking trickier, and there are some areas on defense that might be in less than ideal shape. Solving the organization's chronic special teams ailments could also save Packers fans from some anguish. But all told, this is a fairly strong team, lacking major red flags. Green Bay's ranking would be solidified should Love show improvement. So here's my problem. Because when we go to Minnesota's, and I'm not trying to pick on Minnesota, although maybe I am a little bit. Minnesota's ranked 6th with a quarterback that we have yet to see play. And as you're right, it's difficult to precisely place the Vikings, who have a Formula One roster, but a learner's permit driver. After being sidelined with a knee injury for all of 2024, first-year starting quarterback J.J. McCarthy likely holds the keys for this team, which is coming off of a 14-win season. But how do you properly rank a talented squad with a quarterback who has just 30 snaps in a preseason game under his belt? So, while, if we had to pick between McCarthy or Love, I'm picking Love because for me at least, I'd feel a little bit more confident in Love right now. Now, I'm not saying that's everything else is all equal, but he also writes for Minnesota, the special teams also could use a cause for worry. So this is by no means a perfect group, but Minnesota didn't go 14-3 with all 3 losses to playoff teams via smoke and mirrors. The Vikings made a strong push this offseason to surround McCarthy with a great infrastructure, and they have one of the better NFL rosters because of it. Okay, I get that, but again, the quarterback is such an integral part and most important position in sports, and especially in football. And this is what grinds my gears. Again. And it's the Jordan Love talk about regression. Yes, first year was definitely streaky. Started off slow, finished strong. And I think his first year starting a couple years ago, there was a lot of growing between play caller, Matt LaFleur, and Jordan Love. Trying to feel each other out, what works best, what can we do? And I feel like after they kind of figured that out, that's when they started to be on the same page with a lot of stuff. Last year, you had injuries and you had receivers who couldn't catch the ball. Was he still streaky? Was he still had issues of maybe throwing into triple coverage or making dumb reads at times? Absolutely yes. There is definitely room for Jordan Love to grow and to become a better quarterback and continue to elevate his game. But that write-up makes it sound like that, boy, he's maybe an average quarterback at best, which I disagree with. And it was Dan Orlovsky this morning, courtesy of Evelyn Kaplan from ESPN. 5 quarterbacks finished in the top 10 in QBR in each of the last 2 seasons. Just 5. And there's names on here you would expect. Patrick Mahomes. Duh. Josh Allen. Duh. Lamar Jackson. Duh. The other 2? Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. And this is what grinds my gears is this, I think at times, incredibly lazy analysis on Jordan Love's game from last year. And a lot of box score scouting when it comes to it. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't the best quarterback in the game last year. I'm not arguing that. But I feel like there's this narrative and there's this headline that is almost painting him and giving the impression to a lot of people that, boy, he's the average, or boy, he's kind of a bum sort of thing. And no. Do I think year 3 this year is an important year for Jordan Love and his growth? Absolutely. But let's not pretend that he was just god-awful the last 2 years. Definitely think there's room to grow and there's room to get better. But let's not act like the last couple of years he was just gosh awful. When it comes to the overall rosters in this thing, I factor in coaching with this. Because I do feel like for a lot of teams, your play callers and your coaches are an integral part, are a big part of the overall function of the team. For example, for me, Detroit, Ben Johnson and Glenn, offensive coordinator, defense coordinators, no longer there. Especially Ben Johnson. I think there is this unknown surrounding the Lions offense. Okay, are they going to take a little bit of step back? How is Jared Goff going to play with no Ben Johnson calling the plays this year? It is an unknown. I would argue one of the biggest question marks heading into the season. What is the Lions offense going to look like? They've got talented players. Gibbs is there. Williams. St. Brown. It's a big loss to lose their starting center, but they still got some really good players on the offensive line. The pieces are there. But will a new offensive coordinator kind of pick up where Ben Johnson left off? Or is he going to want to put his own mark, adjust it, adapt it a little bit? It's an unknown. And to me, a big unknown. Because I feel like, especially with your quarterback with Jared Goff, and this is not a knock on Jared Goff, but I feel like you've got to have that proper system and you've got to put him in a position for him to be successful. Because I think if you put him in a position where it's all on his shoulders, that's where he struggles at times. Defensively, Glenn, now head coach with the Jets. You look at that group. It's a physical group. It's an aggressive group. Are they going to have that same approach? Are they going to have that same mindset? Is it going to be a little bit different? Because remember, too, what's unique with this? Dan Campbell is not a play caller. of all the teams in this division, he is the one head coach who's not the play caller for either defense or offense. And now he's lost both of his play callers. That factors into this for me. Detroit's still up and down an incredibly solid team when you look at it from the roster. We mentioned some of the offensive players. Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. You got Brian Branch there in a second, kind of a utility Swiss Army knife type of guy. You look at some of the other defensive pieces that they got on here. They brought in DJ Reed in free agency. Arnold is there, the other corner. Kirby Joseph. I know some people have issues with him, but an effective safety, a really good safety, one of the better safeties in the league. There's maybe some question, do they have enough pass rushers? They did not bring Zadarius Smith back yet. But overall, still a solid team. Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell, Coach of the Year, one of the better offensive play callers in the league. You still got JJ. You still got Justin Jefferson, who, for my money, is, if he's not the best wide receiver in the league, he's top 3. You got Aaron Jones back. I think a lot of people are like, okay, when is that running back wall going to hit Aaron Jones? And right now, it really hasn't hit Aaron Jones yet. I love Aaron Jones. I just hate that he's wearing purple. But you look at some of the moves Minnesota made. They bring in Ryan Kelly at center. They still got Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. JJ McCarthy is set up to succeed. Okay? He is set up to succeed. He's got playmakers. He's got weapons. And he's got some protection up front. And he's got a solid defense. I mean, this offseason, what did Minnesota do? Bringing in Jonathan Allen. Bringing in Hargrave. Brian Flores did not get a head coaching job, which every Vikings fan had to say, thank gosh. Andrew Van Ginkel's coming off of a great season. You got another pass rusher in Jonathan Grenard. Secondary, Harrison Smith's up there in H. So maybe a little bit of a concern there. But no question, this is a talented team with some depth. The biggest question mark is the quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. There's a lot of positives around him. They like him, and we saw the positives last year in training camp and preseason when all the talk was like, "Oh, is he gonna push Sam Darnold maybe to get some starting time earlier on?" And then the knee injury. But let's not kid ourselves. It is an unknown. It is a big unknown what to expect from J.J. McCarthy this year. People have got their predictions, they've got their thoughts, and they've got their opinions, and that is absolutely fine. But the reality is we just don't know. And then you look at the Bears, who I think had a fantastic offseason. They got the coach that every Bears fan and everybody wanted the Bears to get in, Ben Johnson. They got that coach to pair up with Caleb Williams for his second year. I thought they did a really good job in free agency bringing in some offensive linemen like Joe Thuney. That was a big, big get to fortify that offensive line. And then you lock him up. You've got DJ Moore still there. You've got Roma Dunze. I thought, great pick in the draft, Luther Burden. When he was announced to Chicago, I was like, son of a gun, but I didn't say those words. Really good pick. Montez Sweat on the defensive side still there. TJ Edwards, linebacker, former Badger. I mean, there's a lot to like with this depth on this Chicago Bears team. But what's the unknown? What's the unknown? And then, of course, Loveland, their first-round pick, the tight end. So giving Caleb Williams some weapons there and protection up front free agency. But what's the unknown? Can Ben Johnson be a good head coach? Can he be a good head coach? He's a great offensive coordinator. He's a great play caller. But can he elevate, take it up another notch, and be a good head coach? That's the unknown. That's a big unknown. There are some guys, some people out there, some coaches out there who are just better suited as coordinators. They're better suited as coordinators. Maybe the head coaching just is a little too much for them to juggle, a little too much on their plate. We don't know yet. It's an unknown. I thought it was an incredibly smart hire to bring in Dennis Allen to be their defensive coordinator. A guy who served 2 stints as a head coach in this league, with the Raiders, most recently with the Saints. But you bring in an established veteran, which I think will improve the defensive side of things. I think that was a great hire from a defensive side of things, but also just a good hire to have that experienced head coach to help out Ben Johnson in his first year. Smart. And then look at some of the assistants he brought in too. Yes, there's maybe a little bit of unknown, JT Barrett's coaching the quarterbacks. Antoine Randall was with the Lions for the longest time, but Eric Bieniemy is back in the NFL. He's coaching the running backs. Experienced coach. Al Harris is on the defense now. Yeah, sorry, Packers fans. But Al Harris, defensive backs, passing game coordinator. Thought that was a really smart hire. Really smart hire. So, but the biggest unknown is going to be, can Ben Johnson be a good head coach? He's a great coordinator, but can he be a great head coach? And then you look at the Packers. You look at what they did this offseason. You look at this roster. We know about the running back. Offensive line, they bring in Aaron Banks this offseason. They're sliding Elton Jenkins over to center. Zach Tom, one of the best right tackles in the game. Maybe a little bit of a battle at left tackle. We'll see how that plays out. Wide receivers, I think we all know there's talent there. It's just, can they reach their full potential? Can they stop dropping the ball? Can they make the plays at a consistent level? We know there's some young talent there with Jaden Reed, with Dontavian Wicks, hopefully with Matthew Golden. We don't know when we're going to see Christian Watson. We'll see if Savion Williams can be kind of a Swiss Army knife type role. McCole Hardman, kind of in the same boat. There's dudes there. Apparently I'm more confident in Jordan Love than some of the national peeps out there. But I look at this division, and I would ask, which quarterback would you rather have starting for you right now, day one? I'm picking Jordan Love. I'm picking him over J.J. McCarthy. I'm picking him over Caleb Williams. That's not to say Caleb Williams won't eventually be better than Jordan Love or be a really good quarterback, but right now, I'm picking Jordan Love. The biggest question for Green Bay, in my opinion, is going to be the defensive line. Can they get that pressure on the quarterback? It starts there. What Jeff Hafley wants to do, his style, what he wants to do on defense, it all starts up front with those four former first-round picks. Van Ness, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary. Can they get after the quarterback? Can they get at the quarterback with their down linemen and then put extra guys in coverage? That's what Hafley wants to do. And with the unknown surrounding Jair, it is more imperative that pass rush gets after the quarterback. If Jair's there, all right, it's better. Makes it better. But that is the goal that they want, and we don't know if they can do that. I look at special teams. McManus, kicking-wise, if we really want to break it down in special teams here in June, I'm confident. Daniel Whalen took a step last year. We'll see about, the return game with McCole Hardman or Keyshawn Nixon or such. The biggest question when it comes to special teams is, can they actually cover and not make boneheaded mistakes on that side? But I think when I look at it from top to bottom here, but all four of these teams have really good rosters. I feel like they all have really, really deep or really good rosters. And that's where, again, it goes hand in hand where I feel like this division is going to be the best in football. The best in football. The most competitive division in football. I could see this division beating up on each other where maybe, the top team in the NFC doesn't come from the NFC North, but that doesn't mean that the NFC North champion isn't the best team. It's just because they've beaten up each other so much. So if I were to rank my most complete teams, 1 through 4, boy, it's tough. And again, I'm factoring in coaching staffs in this thing. So I'll probably go Detroit, even though I think that's a huge question mark there with the coaching staff. I'll go Detroit. I'm going Green Bay. I'll go Minnesota, and I'll go Chicago. But I'll tell you what, it's close. I could probably be convinced to switch it up and go a different way. If you've got these other teams, if it's flip-flopped and you make a good argument, I could probably be convinced. It's tight. And we're basing this all off projection. We're basing it all off on what's paper right now. It's close. We're talking fingernail lengths. And I feel like this upcoming season is just going to be a grudge match for a lot of these division games. It's going to be a lot of tooth and nail. It's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching and other game watching and rooting for other teams that are playing against your division teams. It's going to be one of those type of seasons, I feel like.